back on the escalator again.
Leave it alone.
What?
Comics.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
TV and movies. Wrestling. Music.
We are just getting started!
Finally, a podcast about things you actually care about, hosted by a couple of guys who actually care about those things too.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep. Maybe a little too much.
Yes, that's awesome.
The talented one, Chris Machete.
That no-talent ass clown became famous.
And Brenton, you know, that guy from your other favorite podcast.
I liked it. I was good at it.
So grab onto the handrail and don't let go.
There's a little boy caught the escalator!
This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast. Woo! Here's CM and BD.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hi.
Hey, it's a rare Saturday. Look at us.
Mm-hmm.
Different parts of the line. You didn't get a tornado, did you?
Nope, we're safe. Kingston was fine. Just got some rain.
It totally went over you and took out Ottawa. Is that really what happened?
I'm cool with that.
But it really went over you? Like you guys
I
didn't?
guess
Ottawa got hammered. Windsor got hammered.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
North of Toronto got hammered. And you guys didn't get it.
No, we're fine.
Caesarea, like my uncle still doesn't have power. There's a tree on my other uncle's house.
Yeah, that's what you get for living in Caesarea, man.
That's right. That's crazy, man. Yeah. So, anyways, here we are. It's Saturday night. Rare occasion. We would get a chance to hang on a Saturday night, and well, the Leafs are not playing, so we've got lots of open Saturday nights now.
Is there a game on tonight?
I think Rangers and Carolina, but they might have already played. I'm way ahead of you in time. What the hell? I'm
You're
way
in
on the other side. I'm in the future. I'm in the future. Yeah, I'm in Latvia.
There you go. That's close to Latveria, like Doctor Doom.
I am close to Russia. That's where I'm actually close to.
Well, be careful. Can you hear the bombs going off?
No, man. I'm like, it's funny. I got Lithuania. I got Belarus. I got Finland, Estonia. We're Finland's not, but this is on the Russian border, and I'm like an hour flight to Moscow, and but it's all NATO here, so everyone's like dancing in the streets, singing AC/DC, dude.
Nice, there you go.
So, I'm like I think 5 or 6 hours ahead of you. I'm not sure. So, anyways, it's a whole thing, but we we're just setting up and getting ready to fire up a long run over here. So I missed all the weather. You guys got all the tornadoes and all the shit.
No, I just got a storm. No tornadoes, so that's cool. I we had a storm. I was like, wow, it's a rad storm. That was it. Then I know I had a couple students that didn't have internet that were from different places. So yeah, other than that though, man, no, awesome here. Good times.
Yeah. And we're excited because this we've been waiting for a little while on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll show this and then we'll get going because they've released 2 episodes. The first 2 that came out, and the internet's abuzz about it.
It's the Obi-Wan special.
The time of the Jedi is over. Stay hidden. His compassion leaves a trail. I'm not who I used to be.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, limited series, now streaming only on Disney+.
Wow. Yeah, I've been waiting for that. It's awesome.
I know, dude. And it was like,
so good.
I was all worried because you'd already watched it. And then you had already watched it. And I got over here and they don't have Disney Plus here.
Oh, wow.
It's one of the only countries in the world that doesn't have it. So I was like, oh no, I'm screwed. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get a chance to see it, or whatever for this thing. So yeah, it was cool. So it touched on some stuff that we touched on that maybe they were going to do. Just the overall vibe of it was kind of interesting.
That's great. I really like
where they're going to go. So okay, so I guess what we'll do is we've been talking a lot about like what they might do, where they might go with it. First 2 episodes, I'm assuming there's 9. Did I see how many did they decide on? Is it 9 episodes?
They've already released 2.
Yeah. So
They're
All
great.
right, cast wise, let's start here for a minute. What did you think of everybody that the cast wise right
Well,
now?
that's one thing that I was going to comment on is just it's phenomenal cast. You know, you get phenomenal cast with really deep characters, and it's something that something to behold. This could have been the newest movie instead of the trilogy that we saw. I think that Ewan
Right?
McGregor is probably the best actor that Star Wars franchise has ever had. I think he plays Obi-Wan to a T. With a great salute to Alec Guinness. I love to see Hayden Christensen back in the picture because I didn't have a problem with him at all. Maybe some of his dialogue was a little hokey and crap, but that wasn't his problem.
That's
That
writing,
wasn't
man.
his fault at all. And
Yep.
and the fact that that's what he's being downgraded because of just shows how stupid people who are hacking on him are, right? Like if you're hacking on
Yeah.
the guy because of his dialogue, and then you're hacking on the wrong person, man. Hayden Christensen did a great job. And again, I've mentioned that my favorite movie out of the whole Star Wars deal is Revenge of the Sith. I think that's a fantastic movie. I think the acting in it is incredible. I thought, well, Ewan McGregor is just a great, incredible actor. And when he found out that Anakin, at jumping just to one of his great acting moments, is
Yeah.
I would be interested is when he found out that Anakin was still
Yeah.
alive. When he was
I was
told,
gonna say what a great live final scene. It was amazing.
I was wondering how many times he did that scene. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, let me do that again. Let me do it, because wow, that's the moment that Obi-Wan finds out that because all that whole decade he thought he killed,
Right.
the youngling's dad, right? They thought they killed Luke and Leia's dad, thought that it was over. And then he finds out. So what a moment. And the way they blurred the camera scene and brought it in and out and had it look so anxiety riddled, and his expression was great. He's one of my favorite actors, and Obi-Wan is probably my favorite Jedi. And I think they did everything perfectly. Funny thing is, I forgot all about a little Leia, and then a little Leia pops up, and she's mint. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was great. I think this is awesome because this could have been. Yeah, she's brilliant. Just brilliant, man. I loved everything.
So I've got thoughts on her as well, and I know that's a tough role for her to play so young.
You got to cater to the kids, and I thought that was a good way of catering to them without being, with you got such a great character to work with to begin with is adult Leia, and then to break her down to a little kid is like, oh, it's awesome. It's so cool.
And he answered we're gonna jump around a bit here, everyone, and so spoiler alert, whatever. If you haven't watched it yet, sorry, but what are you waiting for? But a couple things about her. It was funny because I thought in this Star Wars universe, George Lucas used to be guilty of, I don't want to say overwriting, but writing some bad stuff in there. Like he kind of designed it out. And I felt the whole time it was going that I was like, they're writing her too smart. And I don't mean that they're just writing her very smart for 10 years old. And I was like, she's just speaking a little bit too smart for a 10-year-old. And then Kenobi's like, you don't speak like a 10-year-old. And I was like, so maybe internally they were like, do you think
there's
maybe
different
we
ways
need to put that line in there? Cause I was just like, she was a little, I'm like, she's a little bit overwritten, and I don't want to
Here's what I thought about that
her.
too. That's a great point. It's a really good point. I bet we flash on Luke and he's kind of developing quick reflexes and shit, where Leia is mentally getting quicker, right? Like I think we're seeing her force power coming through her brain, and where Luke's going to come through his reflexes, out in the sand there. He's going to practice some shit. You can see Leia's already loving, being very independent. And she can really, that's the other thing about her I'm thinking with her Jedi power, she doesn't realize she's doing. She looks at her cousin. She's like, you know what? You're afraid. She's reading his mind, basically.
Yeah.
You know what
totally.
I mean? So is she acting older, or is she just riding off her force powers? Right. Which is cool.
So that's a great point too, that I didn't look at it like that. I kind of looked at it more like maybe they're writing it like whatever. That's a tough role for her. And my first thought about her was like, wow, good on them to find her, and good on her to take on this. And it's funny. I find like you find like an actor that is really good in a movie, not just Star Wars. Let's just say, because sorry, I'm going to jump back to like the first three movies, and the first kid that played little Anakin.
Yeah. Poor dude.
He, to me, was like, people were annoyed with him because it was like he was like a spoiled little brat, and that's exactly what Anakin ended up becoming. In this thing here, she's defiant like Anakin, and he and he says it. He's like, and they keep harkening back to original Star Wars, which is like, oh, there's something in there about your dad, and your dad was this, and he does the same thing here, where he's like,
your mom, yeah,
you recognize some traits in you from somebody I used to know. And
right?
like,
It doesn't say it's his mom, yeah.
Doesn't say, and it was just like, yeah, he touched on that. So it was a very interesting part where I thought she did a better job as little Leia than the other kid did as little Anakin.
Right.
And maybe I mean, like I felt like she wasn't overacting, but I thought her dialogue was just too much for a 10-year-old. But to your point, I think that was a really good point, that maybe she's developing intellectually.
Her force powers are, and I think she's reading people's minds, and she's like, she just thinks she's reading people, but she's really reading them. You know what I mean? Really getting inside, because the way she looks at her, you're afraid of your father. It's almost like, and then she looks at Obi-Wan. She's like, you think saying not much is making you get away with more, but you're wrong. Yeah. It's like,
and they have a lot to cover here, because they have a lot to cover on Leia, which I didn't expect them to go down this Leia road. So this is a nice bonus.
We got a great surprise. That was great. I was like, because Lonnie and I watched it first thing in the morning the other day. It was yesterday, I guess. And and as soon as they showed her planet, Alderaan and everything, and I was like, oh, little Leia! I forgot about little Leia. Oh my god! And then there she was, and it was like, son of a bitch. So cool. I loved it, and the way she was looking at the spaceships and saying, "Ooh, I wonder what this one is," and the way the whole thing about her being, not a real Organa and everything, and that was a great scene too. That I was like, oh, that was really nice, really really nice. I liked it a lot.
The fact that they brought what's his name back as her dad again, which was awesome.
Jimmy Smith.
And then but they have a lot to cover with Leia, because we spend the first three movies, like 4, 5, and 6, where she has no clue who she is. Mm-hmm. So they have to find a way to get to there. Like, she doesn't find out until Jedi that Luke's her brother.
Right.
But she's got this intuition in her at this age. So it's very interesting how they developed her out already at 10. It makes me question whether they're going to just do 3 episodes with her at this age, and then they're going to skip ahead 10 years for the next 3 episodes, and kind of have her be like a teenager, because they have to get to. Well, they don't have to. I guess they can develop this over years. But if Kenobi's just a 1-off or 2-off, they have to kind of get it to. They have to get it to between 3 to number 4. Right, they have to get it to where
New Hope. They have to bring it up to
New Hope. They have to bring it up to A New Hope, and she's already 20 years old there, or something.
Well, they're halfway there, right? They're half, because it's been a decade. They start this a decade after A New Hope. So Luke and Leia are 10 years old. You know what I mean? They're like, 10. I said 10. So they're both 10 years old, and so we're looking at like another 7, 8 years before we hit A New Hope.
It's interesting. So I just think they have a lot.
We'll see what they do, if they just gradually, or if they break this into a couple series. They could do anything they want with it, man. Because as I say, you got characters here that have so many great layers. Even Uncle Owen, man, like he's got history. Is like with Anakin, with Darth Vader. It's like, man, he's not just another dude. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, a comparison to the new movies, right? It's like you got these guys like instead of just getting new characters and redoing what you did in the first 3 movies, man, you're taking these characters and adding even more delight to the fans and more good storytelling. And it was not that it's really a big deal, but a lot of people picking this stuff apart. But it was a female that directed these episodes.
Yeah. And the cast is really.
She did an amazing job.
Yeah, she did a really good job
Great job
showing it off, and I thought so far, and I don't know if we've seen everybody in this yet. In this thing, I don't know if looks like Little Ice T is in there.
Friend yet?
I don't think so. We see the Little Ice T in the bottom corner there. That's O'Shea Jackson. That's Ice T's kid, or Ice Cube's kid. Sorry, Little Ice Cube. What else? We saw Moses. We saw Joel. Yeah, so we've seen a few.
There's been also I love off the beginning there. If we want to just circle around, I love the way the recap, because it's like recap. And Lonnie's like, what are they going to show you? And I was like, they're going to show us the movies. Boom, and they did. They went right back to all the movies, and I was just like, my mind was blown at that point, and I was so excited. I was like, the lump was like, holy cow, here we go. Because it's funny, because wow, this is exactly what I was talking about on our podcast. Is like, this is exactly what I want to see. Here we go.
Yeah.
Now this
could have given it to us.
This could and should have been the newest movies, If they would have just taken their times and chilled on things a bit, right? Like, but we got to create this whole new universe, but then wrap it around to the original one and make it lame. Anyway, this was brilliant. I thought this was great, and the whole thing off the beginning there, with the younglings, and then it pans back and it says, "What do? We run," and then it starts, because that sets the pace for basically what we're about to see, which was brilliant. Just friggin' again. Wow, how do I, again, because as a writer, I'm thinking, how do you introduce this? That was perfect. The little kids, and then it pans back, because you think that, okay, well, it's in this hallway, right? These poor kids.
But
you
it's the whole
back
thing.
and you see, much like A New Hope, when you see the little spaceship, then they pan back on the great big Star Destroyer.
The big one, yeah.
Same thing here, and you realize the peril that these young kids are in, and the only hope they have is to run. So this sets the pace for what's going on. All the Jedi are running, and that poor dude. So then we go to Obi-Wan, who's working in this fish crashes, right?
Love it. Love that he has a job.
Dude,
I love
fish crashes on the planet, and Obi-Wan is he's one of the factory guys that cuts the fish up and into chunks and wraps it up. It's like a factory. And he takes a little bit for himself, and of course it's run crookedly. And then he goes back to his little cave where he lives. And this is awesome. There's a little Jawa waiting for him there, right? And he's hilarious. So many funny things, though, right? Like I thought there's so many little brilliant things in here that aren't Easter eggs. They did this. Well, Easter eggs, but in a different way. So Jawas are known to be just the worst smelling things, like, in the whole universe. He keeps telling Obi-Wan, "You stink, man. You stink. You smell really bad, right?"
And he's got a name. The Jawa's got a name.
The Jawas, I know. I don't like.
Take it or something. Yeah.
It would have been funny.
It's like, "Hey, Larry, come over here. Bring me a beer." You know.
But
and you almost saw the Jawa face too. You almost did, because the hood was sliding down.
Well, their faces they're a bug. Their faces look like a fly. So picture it's just there's not much to see. But so that scene was hilarious. And then funny, he's like, "Well, I do need this for my blah blah blah," and he's going, "Oh, no, if you're gonna steal from me, man." So a great comedy scene without being like just using the lore that's already out there. Not going, "Oh, I'm going to create this new squish thing that Luke's going to get his juice from. It's really gross," but it's like, no, man, no. What would the Jawa do with Obi-Wan? Oh, this is great. Oh, he's got a friend.
You know what I felt about that too, which is a real shame to your point, is that whole thing with him and the Jawa, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give you this, and all the rest of it. It reminded me of Rey from The Force Awakens,
totally. And when he sat there, my wife,
the way he sat, and the way the whole, and just the way he lives on Tatooine.
Obi-Wan should have been her dad, dude.
I know.
And you know what? He was supposed to be. He was originally supposed to be.
Because they could have tied it back in. Like, I know she lived in a ship, but maybe they could have tied it back in that she lived in the cave that he lived in, or something. Like, and we find out that that's actually.
And they had the Emperor out of Palpatine. There's no business. Palpatine had no business being in there. It's like you get the reveal in the first three of the Emperor and Palpatine, and then you go through these brand new things, these brand new Disney shows, to find out that the big bad guy is, it's Palpatine. And I was like that. I wasn't like, "Oh my God, it's Palpatine." I was like, "Oh, it's Palpatine again." Like, give us some. You know what I mean? I couldn't.
I was just talking to a guy on tour about it today. He's like, "When Snoke, what about that goddamn Snoke? Why they screwed that up? Snoke could have been the leader." You know, it was like,
could have been so much more. Like, dude, it was panic. It was, let's change this. You can't change a story on the last minute on something of this epicness. You know what I mean? Like, it's really something that epic. You cannot just go, "Well, hey man, we were gonna have this guy be the whole. Let's change this and have this and this." No, you can't do that, dude, because you're loosening threads along everything else. And that's just, you know what?
Now these guys have to fix it.
Let's stick to Obi-Wan, because this was brilliant.
Now these guys have to fix it. Yeah.
Pardon me?
Now these guys have to fix it.
Well, yeah, and plus they're getting paid a lot of money to fix it. Good for them. But you know what I mean? Like, I could have, it just pisses, all this money being thrown around, and you know, a guy like me sitting home going, "No, that's not going to work." And it doesn't, and it's bad. And I'm like, oh. You know, throw me a couple $100, man. I'll just give you some advice, Disney. Damn. But they're doing that now. They're going to Filoni and people like that who are fans, which is good. So after we see the Jawa scene, which is fantastic, of course, then we get our bar scene, where of course, you know, the Inquisitors come down, and there's a loose Jedi. Yeah, I was surprised that the head Inquisitor there got jazzed. He right off.
I know.
the second episode there.
Yeah,
But
you know what? I am too, and it's easily, and I guess the thing about it that was interesting to me about it is that he's talking about the Jedi's being weak
yeah,
now, like, and how they show their signs and how they're like, a Jedi will always be a Jedi. They'll always try to help, and that's when they kind of set it up, because when he was going around the bar going, a Jedi will always show their true colors. I was like,
right,
well, I mean, geez. So then he's gonna throw a knife. He's gonna do something, and the Jedi's gonna stand up, and that's where I thought maybe the Obi-Wan reveal would happen, but
right.
it was the other guy. But he showed weakness by being killed so easily. He had, like, you know what I mean? Like, how did he not know that she was gonna
Well, there's the
do
yeah,
something?
'cause this is cool because I mentioned this before as well, right? Is the conflict between the Sith, all that shit going on, everybody wanting to take. There's no trust. They all want
Yeah.
to please. They all want to please Vader, and then they want to take him out. You know what I mean? Or they want to
Well,
please Palpatine and take out Vader and be the right
well,
hand.
look what's in her eye. Look what's in her eye,
Vader, man, isn't that great? Yeah, really
right?
cool.
And the
She's
other guys
she's a great
have the other
actress
guys
too.
have the other guys have Obi-Wan
Yeah, that's pretty
in their
wild, dude.
eye, right?
That
But
is pretty
she's
wild.
got
That's got to be
Vader
saying
in hers,
something.
so it's got to be
Mm.
saying something. It's gonna be a whole thing, I think, because I thought that was a nice touch that they added in there, was her saying, "I'm going to deliver you to him," and so then we get the reveal about why she's so enthralled with this guy, because
She's looking for favor, right?
the Inquisitor was like, "Fucking leave it alone." Like, leave it alone. Who cares? He's gone. He's got, like, we got all these other Jedi to track down. Why are you so worried about this dude? And then she reveals to him on the roof, in a classic, like, dialogue, it's I'm gonna take you to him, and you're like, we know
Mhm.
who you're gonna take him to.
Yeah, Vader, man. Fucking amazing. Yeah, yeah. So in the bar, that dude reveals who he is, but he gets away at that point, right? And we just kind of
Yeah.
get introduced to the Inquisitors, and then yeah, and then he eventually finds Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's like, "Dude, no, man, no."
Yeah.
And guys, like, but and the young Jedi is like, "Well, what happened to you? You're Obi-Wan Kenobi." He's like, "I'm Ben." No, no, man. Here's what you do: is
Yeah.
you take that lightsaber and you bury it in the middle of the desert. And then Obi-Wan goes into town the next day, of course, and finds that guy hanging from ropes, and he's killed. And Obi-Wan's like, shit. And then all the Inquisitors come in, and because Obi-Wan wanted to give Luke that toy, right?
Yeah.
And then Ben brings it into town as
And then
well.
Ben brings it in and tells him no, and yeah, and so
No.
it. You know what? And a side note to this, I just have to say,
Mhm.
man, a lot of Jedi's die,
Oh yeah.
and easily. Like, they seem very easy to kill in some
Well, because
cases.
they're not. Well, it's not. They're not. All that is because they
They're
mention
not
it
all
as
like
well.
Luke, and yeah,
Obi-Wan's the last of the. What did he call it? The something
the
of
old guard,
with the
the old
original
guard.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, like they're not
yeah,
like him anymore, right there, because they didn't train them as well. And
right,
that place was full of Jedi who weren't fully trained. So you
yeah,
got, like, and plus when they pan back, it wasn't like one-on-one Jedi stormtrooper. It was like a dozen stormtroopers, and it was
sure,
clone troopers. It was clone troopers, not stormtroopers. So you had like a dozen Boba Fett's on
yeah.
one guy.
Like, I understand them all getting wiped out. It's just like, this guy died real quick. He was only in the show
Well,
for a
also
little
remember
bit.
how
It's
arrogant they
very,
were? They didn't think they thought they were
yeah,
above everybody, man.
yeah,
Oh, there's no way the Sith are coming back. We would have felt it. Nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. Bring me my tea. No, so they were complacent, and when you
yeah.
get complacent in war, that's when you go down, man. So, and the Sith did it. They brought it in that way. So that's what happened there. I'm waiting for what's Mace Windu's going to make a comeback apparently. So that'll be
Oh,
cool. I don't know when what that's going to happen in and when that's going to happen, but we'll see. You know what's cool is they're heading to all these really neat things where the next movie could have Ahsoka Tano. It could have the Mandalorian in it. It could have Grogu in it. It could have all these cool. What's the other guy? The blue dude there that we all enjoy so much from the Timothy Zahn books, right? The blue Admiral.
yeah. I know what you're saying.
I can't believe I'm forgetting. It's
Or
Thrawn.
Thrawn,
Admiral
General
Thrawn.
Thrawn.
General
Yeah.
Thrawn. So we imagine a movie with all these, like, what we're heading to. Wow, that would be really cool.
Which makes me wonder if they'll actually make a movie out of those, or just keep them on TV and talk about the TV
Well,
shows.
that's the whole deal. But what they
Yeah.
could head to having
Yeah.
all this come, and this is what happens after Return of the Jedi. Not the new, like, have something in between there, or like, and then I don't know. You could do something, right? But yeah, that would be a great movie. That could you imagine that? The Mandalorian, Grogu, Luke Skywalker. You got what I already mentioned, or Ahsoka Tano.
They would have to do it as episodes. They would have to do it like I don't know how they would do it because they'd have to do like a what?
I do. Give me a
no,
week,
but I'm
man,
saying
I will
you
write
can't
my
call
script.
it like it's like 4, 5, 6. Then you have 7 is the new movie. It's The Force Awakens. So we call it 6.5 or what do you call it?
That's what I say. You got to do something with those other ones, man. You have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'd have to do something because that's the thing. They've got us now. They're stuck between a rock and a hard spot right now.
And it sounds like the direction that Tiki, whatever his name is, he's going to direct the new Star Wars stuff.
And they're going back.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's going to be much of what we're used to.
They'll go back to Darth Revan now and all that stuff. The beginning of the Sith. They're gonna do what they should have did in the beginning. They should have as I mentioned. They should have waited to do the new stuff until they wrap their heads around maybe the theory and the originality of Star Wars. Like do some of these things and then come out when you're ready. Because obviously they weren't ready to make new Star Wars movies, and that sucks. That's too bad. You know what I mean?
A bunch of guys sitting around a table, like we discussed, going, "We got to do this," and they bought. I think the second they made an offer to Lucas, and then ended up selling.
Yeah,
which seems like a steal right now. By the way, $5 billion. That's not a lot of money.
Well,
in a big picture,
for
one guy it is.
For one guy it is. Yeah. If somebody offered me that much for Escalator, dude, I don't care what it did. I'd be like, yeah, because obviously now a lot of them are thinking, you know what we need right now? What? George Lucas. You know what I mean? Like, even just, I need to ask somebody some questions. Who do you need to ask? I'm George Lucas. You know what I mean? Like, I would just love to ask him a question about this and that and the other thing, and which they needed to do it properly. But it's too bad they shot themselves in the foot. But as you can see, it's such a big money maker. They're not going to let it go. They'll keep hacking at it until they find the right way to go about it, and they're starting to now. Yeah. But they're going to go back. Well, we'll see. The Revan and the birth of the Sith, and they're doing it in the comic books right now, which is incredible. Oh my god, dude! Yeah, the beginning of the Republic or the beginning of the whole Jedi Empire is just sensational. So cool.
We get introduced to young Leia that we talked about.
She gets kidnapped by Flea.
She gets kidnapped by Flea. Yeah, she gets kidnapped by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I want to play this thing, but it's
they'll cut us off.
I don't think we can. They'll cut us off on YouTube, but there's a really cool thing that you can find online of Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he's a bad we'll just call him a scary dude, but someone's put Californication over it and turned it into like a documentary. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty funny. But he did a good job, I thought.
Yeah. It's tough to not be an actor and then all of a sudden have to be an actor in that kind of shit. You know,
playing just a scumbag. That What do you want? Nah, you're not going nowhere. Give me some lines. Give me some lines, man. Give me some lines. All I gotta do is think of some classic bad guy from like any Quentin Tarantino film kind of thing, right? Some piece of shit. And there you go. Yeah.
So they're trying to get her. Or they don't want her. They want him.
Leia got kidnapped, and it was all a ploy for the third Inquisitor to lead Obi-Wan into her clutches, which was a really good plan. She's on top of the buildings watching it go down. And, of course, Leia being
I thought that was cool.
Oh, it was great, cool. Dude. It was so good.
It was kind of like a Batman feel. Not to mention, if you notice while she's standing up there, she looks like Darth Vader. She's got the cape and she's got everything. She's all in black. There's a couple of little things. So she's got a Darth Vader look standing and a Batman look. She kind of has like a Batman and Darth Vader combo on top of the building, overlooking the building. And then you see them fighting on that. That was a nice touch.
Great. And also, just to point out a minority on 2 counts, a black female playing one of the lead Sith roles is amazing. So that's the kind of thing we're seeing these days. It's not, I'm hoping it's not a thing anymore because I didn't even notice it until my wife brought it up at the end, and she was like, "Wow, there's because my wife's not white, so she brought up the fact
there's mine,
neither's yours, but she likes to point out, oh wow, there's look at all the different different colors of people in there, right? And it's like yes, Lonnie, yes, they're doing a great job. But I didn't even notice that. But yeah, what a great job! What a great job, man! Yeah. And it's coming to the point that I don't. Hopefully, that's not a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Just the best person gets the job. Let's spread out the wealth. And what has she been in before? Because she's fantastic.
Good question.
Or
Let me
is this
look
like one of her
here.
first roles? Maybe.
Moses thing. It might be one of her
Yeah.
first ones,
Well,
but
good
yeah,
for
I'd have
her.
to look.
Good job.
I'd have to look at it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a nice. And I was thinking too of I'd have to go back and look. But was the mom the same? Like the Leia's like
Mm.
adoptive mom? Was it the same mom from the end of episode
That's a good
3?
question. I don't know.
Because I was thinking that I was like, some of these people haven't acted since. They've just been off. So
Yeah.
they're like, hey, do you want to come like Hayden Christensen? Do you want to come back? Sure, I'll do some acting now.
Mhm.
Like, and, they're brought out to just all of a
Yeah.
sudden act again. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's nice to kind of, which, there's already been all these surprises in the first 2 episodes. So it just tells me there's going to be loads coming up of cameos and all the shit we want.
Forlom
It's
was
got to
in
be.
there. One of the
Hmm?
bounty hunters, the robot bounty hunter
Yeah.
Forlom.
Yeah.
Dude shot him up. And we run into a fake Jedi.
Now, that was nice. That was a funny thing. Or he's, this character who's played by he is played by Kamal in the middle here.
He was in the Eternals.
Yeah, he plays like a basically a scumbag that rips people off.
He
He's like a
pretends he's
carny. He's
Jedi.
almost like a carny. You know what I mean? He's like and people don't know any better because they don't really know what Jedis are. So anyone can say they're a Jedi, and he's got all the tricks, and he's got all the, he's like a magician, really, and he's scamming people out of money and stuff. Still trying to help them, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but Jedi don't take money. They don't take
no,
money.
no, that's the thing. Jedi don't take money; they do it.
Yeah. So then they're closing in on. So the trick works with Leia gets captured. Obi-Wan rescues her, but then the trap is set for Obi-Wan by the third Inquisitor, and she ends up running into the head Inquisitor guy that we saw there, the bald dude.
Yep.
And she kills him. Now, he might come back with robot gear, right? Like, you never know. He might come back with robot gear. So,
Sure.
but she just skanked him right in the or shanked him. Skanked him.
But this series, or not this series, but this world likes to kill off rad characters pretty quick. Snoke gone. Darth Maul gone. This guy.
Well, Darth Maul came back though. Maul came back big time.
But just not in the.
I get you.
You know
what
I'm saying? Like
George Lucas wanted him to come back.
Yeah.
But
it's just funny that they like to kill them off. So, anyways, he gets killed by her.
Yeah.
And
third Inquisitor takes over, and you can see in future ones where she's leading a brigade, right?
Yeah.
So I think it sticks with her, and she just. But that's where the Sith is. That's why I was mentioning is like you got to see all the people that are trying to take Vader out, man. It's freaking great.
Well, there was 2 things in there that had me questioning. Okay, when she revealed the thing about Vader, about how she was going to deliver him to Vader, that answered while she was so passionate about finding him. But there was another line made in there about that had me thinking that maybe she was related to somebody that was killed by Kenobi, or because there's a line she makes in there where she refers to not people don't know why she's trying to get him so badly, and she says
imagine if she was
he owes me.
If she was related to
Mace Windu, right?
Oh,
so there's that, but that was Anakin
cool.
who killed him, not Obi-Wan. But she might blame.
But trying to get close to Vader, right? Bringing in that this is how the Sith do it.
Yeah.
Is they get your graces, they get your guard down, and
so
then
there was that part of it, and then the other part of it was like maybe she was if it was 10 years after the slaughter at the Jedi Temple.
Yes.
Maybe she looks like she's only 20. Maybe she was a student there that is a byproduct of that, and that Obi-Wan couldn't help her, and she's mad at him or something. Like so I feel like she's either connected. Like I like your point that she could be luring him in to get close to Vader because she's the daughter of Mace Windu and blah blah blah. So there's that, or the other side of it is that she was a student of the temple and she's out for blood because all of her friends were killed and blah blah blah. Coincidentally and sadly, they had to put a thing at the beginning of this episode about disclaimer.
About what?
Because they show a scene where all these kids are killed. And given everything that's going on in America, they were they were gonna push this. They were gonna push it apparently for another couple of months after this thing, unfortunately, because of it's instantly you go right into like
thanks guys.
Thanks, America. So anyways, so I think she's either connected to the temple or she's the daughter of somebody. Or she, whatever. But I'm kind of like, I'm not sold that she's a bad guy, or that she's a heel.
She's
I'm wondering if she's gonna end up being on the good, on the not on the dark side
She
down the road
definitely
here.
has an ulterior motive that we're not being shown, and I love
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
later on you find out what it is, and you're like, oh, that's why, that's why, that's why. See, I love that. That's great storytelling. See, now this is something that they didn't do again with, say,
The other one's
Poe Dameron.
sure.
It's like, okay, he's a pissed off pilot. That's great. He's kind of an asshole. Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been better if he was like the
Anything.
cousin of somebody? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, it
yeah,
would have been, dude, he was nothing. That's why I say, like, anything's better than, or kill him off.
maybe he's Wedge's cousin or something.
Dude, anything's better than nothing, or kill him off, because then you'll care for him too. I didn't give two shits about that guy, like not two shits. Unreal.
They showed more they got more emotion out of Grogu. They made you care about Grogu more than like the fighter pilot that's rescuing the princess.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
they
And
did
that's
it in one scene.
not necessarily how you're going to be able to do it. Because out of Force Awakens, everyone was like, okay, where are we going with all these guys?
Yeah. Well,
Right?
they
Wouldn't it be?
they had it outlined before, but they didn't follow it through. That was the
No.
problem. Because they did have an idea at the beginning. I've seen the rough script ideas, and
Mhm.
and I've heard actors say that that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I've heard two of them say that it was supposed to be Obi-Wan, and they're like, "Well, what happened there?" She goes, "I don't know. It kept changing. At one point, it was changing like every day." So
It's an interesting. So then they do the reveal at the end where she's like, "I'm gonna," and as you touched on, the reveal that Anakin is still alive, and the look on his face is just like,
wow. How many times did he have to shoot that scene? I wonder, because that is like
I know.
the culmination of so much.
It's just like, I can't believe this. Like, what have I done? I haven't, because he didn't want to kill him to begin with. So he's been living with this guilt for 10 years
Exactly.
that he killed this kid. And then he finds out that he's
Padawan,
alive,
man.
which now he finds out he's alive, which means now he knows that he's probably even a bigger threat than he was before.
And
now
there's no way
got,
he can kill him now. Obi-Wan's weak. There's no
Yeah.
way he could do anything about him now. He's like, he screwed up. He should have killed him.
which is interesting, because eventually, as we get to episode 4 and he just sacrifices himself to Vader, he's 70 by then, right? Or whatever it is. He's 70 by then. So he's not weak. He's very strong in the mind, but he's weak. He can't.
Oh, he can't.
Yoda's 300 years old and he's moving around, or 800 years old and he's flying around. The Emperor is like 1 billion years old and flying around, but you don't see that side of Obi-Wan. You only see old Obi-Wan, and he sacrifices himself because he's just like, I'm going to be more powerful in the afterlife than I will be here.
Wow.
And you get glimpses of Ewan McGregor, or of Kenobi, struggling with his power here.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes it out of him when he saves her from falling off the roof. He's drained,
Yep. Oh,
so
man.
yeah, there's a lot of layers here. So, and we're only on episode 2, and if they're sticking to the theme, then we'll get episode 3, and then we're going to see a switch for the next, for 4, 5, and 6. They're going to be a completely different thing. And
What's cool, one thing I didn't notice or never thought about, was the relation. How far back did the relationship go between Obi-Wan and Princess Leia? And wow, it went way back. So, because she didn't get to leave that planet until she was kidnapped, and then Obi-Wan's the one that was taking her around. She goes, "Oh, smell that! Look at this! This is wild, wow!" So Obi-Wan's the one that really. So imagine that you're 10 years old, you get to leave the planet for the first time, you're kidnapped, and this old guy saves you. So your connection with that dude would be pretty good, right? So it's interesting to see where they play.
I was thinking about that. Well, I was thinking about that point actually when I was watching it, because I was thinking about her in episode 4 when she goes to R2 and records the message, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope." And I was thinking, geez, that's a nice touch, because she's like, he's the only one that she can rely on, at least coming, like he's the only one that she can trust. It's the same as her dad comes down and goes, "You're the only one I can trust with this." And it's slowly becoming apparently it's very, very clear to me that the actual hero of this whole franchise is Obi-Wan.
I think so.
Not Luke.
No,
not like Luke blew shit up and he became whatever. But you were the chosen one. Well, did Luke end up being the chosen one? I guess in the end, Luke was the chosen one because Rey ends up not really living up to that role at the end. Did she? Should they kind of kill off the Emperor? Maybe Rey ends up, but it just didn't. It didn't work. So sticking to the original three,
Vader
it's
was the
very
chosen one to have the chosen ones, I guess.
right. But it's clear to me that Obi-Wan is way, way, way more important to this story than people have given credit to, which is great that they're giving him his due. But I think he's secretly here. We're going to discover that he's actually the hero of this whole thing.
I've always been a pro Obi-Wan. If everyone says who's your favorite Jedi, I always say Obi-Wan, and I have reasons. I have my reasons why.
Yeah.
Like why, and it's like because of this, and it's like
Yeah.
generally it's one thing you can just go through is all the people that he's taken down, like from General Grievous to Anakin. Like you know what I mean? Like wow, way to go, man.
It was funny to watch him fight those guys in the hall because actually, have you seen any of the John Wick movies?
Not proper. Not proper.
You should. You'd love them because it's such a comic. You would absolutely. If there's any franchise you would love, it's going to be that. Outside of all the fighting and the kung fu, the thing is shot like a comic book, like you've never seen
really
before.
good, right?
It's really cool. But one of the things that they do in John Wick, which doesn't ruin anything here for you, but he's part of this club, and when he decides to leave this club of assassins or whatever it is that they do, you're kicked out, and so then every bounty hunter can take you out. And so that part where she puts him into the system and he's standing there and he's watching everyone's phone pop up, or not phone, but their teleprompters pop up with his face on it. That's exactly what happened in John Wick.
Cool.
So John Wick's walking around. John Wick's like, I got this, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, $10 million bounty, John Wick out on the street, and he's walking down, and it's the coolest thing. It's very much they pulled this from John Wick. I promise you they pulled this from John Wick. He's standing there when all those notifications go out, and every corner he turns down, there's somebody ready to kill him.
Yeah.
And that was John Wick. When the notification goes up on John Wick, the guy standing beside him is a bounty hunter, and he just looks at him like this. And then they start fighting. It's just amazing. And that's exactly what they did with Obi-Wan. And I was like, that was a nice touch because take all the Star Wars stuff out of the equation. They threw a John Wick thing in there, which is going to make the fanboys really happy because that's such a great, great series, man. You'd love that series.
Right.
You'd love it.
Well, it's also like I was going to say, like when you hit A New Hope, Luke knows he's aware of Ben, the crazy old Ben, the hermit that lives.
Crazy old Ben. Yeah,
he's aware of him. So it'll be interesting to find out why he's aware of him. Because when he sees him, he's like, Ben, huh? Remember when he comes to in A New Hope? He knows who he is, right? So
it's going to be fun to watch A New Hope again after this, and that first interaction between the two of them. And I'm sure these guys have watched it 1,000 times more than us to kind of get that. Like, remember when he said this? We got to reference it in this. When he said this, and I'm sure it all comes down to the uncle.
Right.
To what's his name? To
Uncle
his uncle. That's basically telling him to fucking stay away. Get the fuck out of here. Get away from us. Stay away from us. And I'm sure he's going to be driving that into Luke this whole series.
I'm pretty sure I saw a preview where he had that spaceship. Little Luke did, and he was flying it around. So I think he eventually gets that ship. Because I'm pretty sure I saw. Or is
that was in the first trailer. No, that was in the trailer.
Does he have that in A New Hope as well? I think he does. I think he's sitting there with it, isn't he, with the droids? And he's just like,
maybe.
Oh man! See now I want to go back and watch A New Hope. I think he has it in A New Hope. I think he has that toy.
I think we have to probably watch A New Hope and Empire again. He doesn't have much.
Why not?
Obi-Wan's. No, I'm just saying, like, to, or just wait till this is done. But those first 2 episodes gave us a shit ton of stuff.
Really good. Yeah, and I broke this bag. I have this in my. It's a. What do they call these? A sideshow collectible. It's an Obi-Wan from. It's Revenge of the Sith. It comes with a nice stand and everything, but it's like, dude, it's like this is more than just an action figure. Right? It's fully posable. It comes with a couple different outfits and stuff, and it's like super cool.
Was that a Todd McFarlane?
No, it's from something called Sideshow Collectibles, and they do like master replicas and stuff.
It's always funny to me when I see these things because some of them look great and some of them don't look like the person at all.
Look at
So
that,
I
though.
think
Like,
I think
that's
this
like,
I think they spend the money. The money's in the face recognition. It must be because you can put any body in there and any clothes, but it's got to be about the face. Because look at how many of those wrestler dolls they make, and they don't look anything like the guy,
yeah,
or whatever. It's funny. So that's a good one.
that is a good one. There's so much detail
Yeah.
into it. It's really cool.
So
Obi-Wan.
1 and 2 looking good. Too
Yeah, so
early
I give
to
that like
rank.
5 deans out of 5 on that. Or that's a
It's
good
definitely
one.
5 out of 5. I think everything, it ranks there with Mando, and it ranks there with Boba Fett. If anyone's wondering if they've gone down a little bit, it's funny
I
because
think
people are trying.
this is better than all of them to me. Maybe not Mando. Man, I to me it's better than Mando. But on a scale
We're
of
more
just like,
connected. We're more connected to Ben than we are Mando. That's why.
yeah, we are. I think it's better than Boba Fett. Just for the reason that you've got better characters, and it's not Boba Fett's fault. It's just, although he was
Sure.
in the movie, the actor was in the movie, because you see a clone trooper asking for money, right? And there's Boba Fett's face.
Was that okay? Yeah. So my question, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that was Boba Fett, man. That's hilarious because
Yeah,
it's one of the clone
it's a
troopers, right
clone,
there.
right?
He's sitting there. So I'm wondering if it was Rex or one of the
It's a
main
clone
guys.
trooper?
That might come in there too. You never know.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, what'd you say? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask about that. I was kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
But he's in there. You can still hear me? Hello?
Well, we're running out of. I'm feeling like we're running out of internet here because I'm.
Oh, you are
I
starting to
say I
tap
think
out.
we're running out of internet here. Like I'm. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
slowing
Okay, well,
down,
cheers.
and
That
I'm
was our
slowing
that was
down.
our that was
So,
our Obi-Wan special.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Obi-Wan special.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, I think we're gonna have to tap. That was our Obi-Wan special, everybody. Anyways, we'll be back this week at some point once my schedule settles a bit. We'll be chilling. That's the Kids on the Escalator podcast for another night. Good times,
Rad dudes.
Good times,
Rad
rad dudes.
dudes.
Yeah, good times, rad dudes. Thanks, everybody.